Manga-Waido.
My name is Yuto Takahata. Since I lost my dad in an accident when I was little, I've been living together with my mom. I don't remember much about my dad. According to what my mom told me, he was working diligently as a public servant, and although we weren't particularly wealthy, we were leading a happy life as a family of 3. Mom, I'm going now!
Did you remember to take your keys with you? I'll probably be late tonight, so make sure to warm up the curry in the fridge for dinner tonight.
Alright, see you later! For high school, I entered one of the good schools in our prefecture. My mom didn't remarry. She single-handedly took care of me. She's working almost every day from morning to night while looking after me. She must get tired. But to not make me worried, she's always smiling. I'll make sure to get a good job soon, so that my mom can enjoy her life. I'll get good grades, go to a good university, and find a good job. I believe that was the fastest route to paying back my mom for what she's been doing for me. When I entered high school, I was able to make a friend right away. I'm Nakajima. Nice to meet you. I'm Takahata. Yuto Takahata. Did you decide which club to enter, Takahara? No, I don't think I'll join one. Nakajima's father was a president of a famous company in our area. One day, I told Nakajima that my mom is a single parent. Then I'll ask my dad if your mom can work for a company or not. Oh, but you don't have to do that. What are you talking about? Don't worry about it. We're friends, right? I'm the son of the president. I can do anything. Nakajima. When I told my mom about this, she seemed a little hesitant at first, but then...
Well, then maybe I'll see if we could get a job interview.
Mom was able to get a job interview and started working for Nakajima's father's company. After that, Nakajima and I were always together. Takahata! Let's go to the store! I'm hungry! Oh, let's go! I thought that we could be best friends. I felt like I could do anything if I were with Nakajima. But then, I studied really hard and became top of the class, and had girls come after me because of my looks. Our friendship was becoming a bit shaky. Takahata, wow! You're #1 again for the semester finals! It's just a coincidence. It can't be just a coincidence. Nakajima, you're ranked 8th, aren't you? That's already very good. If I'm not #1, it doesn't mean anything. My dad is gonna yell at me again. Hi. Oh, who are you? Are you Ashita from the broadcasting club? Can we help you? Well, I was wondering if you could appear in one of the films we're making in our club next time. Would you be interested? A film? Well, sure. I could help out. Ah, not you. I meant Takahata. Oh, me? How about Nakajima? I wanted to ask you, Takahata. With things like that, Nakajima and I grew apart, and at some point, Nakajima had grown to hate me. Nakajima was the kind of person who wanted to be at the center of people's attention, and he normally was. He probably couldn't forgive me when I started getting more attention than he was getting. Then, one day, my mom came back home, looking very down.
I got fired.
What? What happened?
They suddenly began asking me about my previous workplace, the nightclub. I explained to them many times that it was not a suspicious place.
Oh no.
But I'll get 1 month's pay, so I'll do my best with job hunting again.
My mom started working at a local supermarket, but since our money became very tight, I also started working in the early mornings as a newspaper delivery boy. But one day, when I got to school after delivering the newspapers, Nakajima came up to me. This was unusual that he would come up to me. You! Are you working as a newspaper delivery boy? Huh? That's too bad being so poor. This guy here only has his mother. Apparently his father got himself a young woman and took off. Hey, don't make up stories. And this guy's mom was apparently working at a nightclub and pleasing men to get money. That's how she raised this guy. Would you normally do something like that even if you were poor? Hey, you! That's enough! That's just so sad. I guess we can't choose our parents. I would be so embarrassed if my mom were like that. I would just die from shame. Hey, you! I was about to get in a huge fight with Nakajima. Calm down! But Ishida and others stopped me. Jeez, poor people are dangerous. After that, Nakajima did all sorts of things to make my life miserable, but I ignored them all. I will get my revenge on him. I worked and studied very hard, with the dream of getting my revenge someday. As a result, I was able to enter one of the top universities in Tokyo. My mom and I moved to Tokyo when I entered university. I was able to get some scholarship and managed to graduate from the university in 4 years. Now I'm working as a public servant. So, I was able to find a decent job and support myself. If I look at it like that, maybe I have Nakajima to be thankful for in some ways. Then, today, I came back to my hometown. It's been 10 years since the high school graduation. I came back in order to attend my class reunion. As for me, I felt like I could boast about what I've done for myself since then. I met up with my friend from high school, Ishida, in front of the train station. At the time, Nakajima had gone around spreading bad rumors about me. So I thought I was about to lose all my friends. Ishida saved me, though. Ishida and his friends helped me so much back then. It's been a long time, Takahata. Hey, you haven't changed at all. Right, we've got some time. Do you want to go see our school together? Our school hasn't changed very much, although it's been 10 years since we last saw it. People made fun of me so much back then. Like I was poor and was raised by a single parent and stuff. That guy, what is he doing now? I hear he's the president of one of the subsidiary companies of his dad's. I see. I guess he hasn't changed much, has he? Probably. According to rumors, he's gotten worse. Actually, he's the organizer of our class reunion today. I see. That's why we're having it at such an expensive-looking hotel like that. My 3 months of pocket money is wiped out from the entrance fee. What are you doing these days? I'm still helping out at my parents' vegetable store, and I'm also a YouTuber. A YouTuber? That's right. It's pretty fun. I'm hoping to get 100,000 followers. Look! Ishida showed me his YouTube channel. There were 356 followers. When we arrived at the venue, the class reunion had already started. Many of our former classmates gathered quickly around Ishida. He had so many friends. When I became alone, I suddenly became anxious. Was it a good idea for me to be here?
Oh, is that you, Takehara? Oh, it's Takehara! Come over here!
Oh, the one who's really good at his studies? Takahata! A long time no see.
You become even more good-looking than when you were in high school, haven't you?
Really?
Yes, I guess people in Tokyo are very different from those around here.
Hey, Takahata! Don't agree to that! Oh? I guess I can talk to them without any problems. After that, we were enjoying each other's company. It had been a long time since I'd laughed like that. It's a good thing that I came after all. That's what I had thought. But then... Oh, what's going on here? You guys sound like you're having a lot of fun. It was my first time seeing Nakajima after 10 years. He was wearing an expensive-looking suit and a watch. Oh, Takahara! Long time no see! I guess you could pay the participation fee now. Yep. Well done. So what are you doing these days? A civil servant. More stable job could be hard to imagine. You don't have to deliver newspapers in the morning anymore. Money's not everything to life.
There it is! That's what poor people always say. Of course it's better to have money. You're just one public servant out of many, but I'm the president of a company. Our positions are different. See what I have as the president? This is the key to my Mercedes. If I get tired with it, I can get a new one. And I can write it off as expenses. I went on a trip with a woman overseas, and that was also as expenses. Things I use for playing golf are expenses. And today's class reunion can all be written off as expenses.
Is that really true? You can write them all off just as you said? As expenses?
Of course I'm telling the truth. You can do things like that if you're the president. That's the power of money. But you continue working away as a little public servant.
Oh, that you would dare to say that. Do you know where I work?
What?
I work as a tax official. I appreciate you for providing the information.
The tax office?
Our job is to make sure that the taxpayers of this country pay their taxes in a fair manner. It doesn't matter whether someone is poor or a company's president. I'll report it to the appropriate division to have them look into this.
Hey, wait a minute.
I don't know how much money you've been taking for yourself as company expenses. If the investigation shows that you've not been filing your taxes properly, then you better prepare yourself for paying additional taxes. I imagine that your father's company is more or less in the situation. These days, the word gets around very quickly.
To hell with you! What gives you the right to say such things, you poor bastard?
I told you, didn't I? It doesn't matter whether you're poor or a president.
Shut up! What a joke! Thank you for providing information? It's all a joke! After all, there's no proof of what I've said. How can you get your office to work anyway? Ha!
Right then, Ishida spoke up. He had his action camera facing our direction. The proof is right here. Every single word. Oh, Ishida! Well done! See, even a not-so-popular YouTuber can be pretty useful.
Takahata, come on! Forget what I told you. We used to be classmates! I'll pay the money. How much? How much should I pay?
I don't need the money. It doesn't matter if I'm poor. There's something that's more important to me. You'll probably never understand that, though. Anyway, enjoy waiting for the result. After that, the tax office went to Nejima's company for an investigation. They also searched the parent company, and they found lots of evidence for their tax evasion. I heard the local news reported about it for quite some time, but that's got nothing to do with me anymore. I told Ishida that I would go visit him soon. He asked me to appear on his YouTube channel as the tax official. I had to say no to that. But anyhow, what's more important is to have friends we can trust, not just the money.
My name is Yusuke Takahashi. I'm dull and have no money or a girlfriend. I'm a 25-year-old with nothing. I was born in the countryside of Ibaraki Prefecture, but I've been living alone in Tokyo since I was a university student. I work as an engineer and I have to work every day with short deadlines with no time to sleep. I wonder if I should have just stayed in my hometown and helped out my parents. That's what I think from time to time. My family have been farmers since my grandfather's generation. They mostly farm tomatoes, then peppers, followed by Chinese cabbages. My parents take care of the fields alongside foreign workers from Vietnam. I left my parents' house to go to school and went straight to work in Tokyo after graduation. My parents asked me to take over the farm, but I refused, telling them I had something I wanted to do. But I'm a liar. This is what I get for cheating my parents. It's not like I had something I wanted to do in particular. I just didn't want to work in the dirt fields. The company I joined has a bad working environment. I'm just a young guy who gets used however they like. Basically a corporate slave. Plus, I'm being watched by my boss who yells at me constantly, which makes me sick to my stomach every day. But then one night, when I was getting tired of it all, a woman was crouched in front of my apartment. She didn't look like a homeless person, but she was dressed in dirty clothes. A drunk. How troublesome. But I can't just leave her be. When I fearfully approached her, the woman in a drunken state muttered things like, "I'm worthless," and "I just want to be happy. What should I do?" It's either I called the police or an ambulance. As I was hesitating, the woman woke up. She turned her head away in embarrassment when she noticed me.
I'm sorry. I think I drank too much. I'm sorry for causing you trouble.
No, don't worry about it. You must be going through a lot. Just give me a minute. I brought a bottle of water from my room and let her drink it. That seemed to sober her up that night, so we parted ways. It was when I had forgotten about that night taking care of the drunken woman. I started feeling some strange stares these past few days. Who is that lady? She's looking at me again. Why is she stalking me? How creepy. On my way to work, my days off, morning, noon, and night, there were moments where I noticed a woman staring at me. It was getting to the point where I thought about calling the cops. If that didn't happen, I might have actually done so. One day, to my surprise, that woman suddenly collapsed on the street. Hey! Are you alright? Should I call an ambulance?
I'm sorry. I'm bothering you again. I just got a little dizzy, that's all.
Huh? Isn't this stalker the drunk from last time? Looking closely, she's quite pretty. I mean, she looks familiar. I took her back to my room, although she felt sorry, and gave her another glass of water. I didn't have any ulterior motives. I had the feeling that we had met somewhere before. I went to hear more details about her.
My name is Satomi Kobayashi. We went to the same elementary and junior high school, but you probably don't remember.
Kobayashi. I remember. What? You're Satomi? You've lost so much weight. I was stunned. Last I remember, Satomi was so great that she looked like a Yokozuna from Women's Sumo.
Yes, that Satomi. You were the only one who always treated me kindly.
Satomi told me that she wanted to thank me for the past and had been waiting an opportunity to do so.
Please, Yusuke. I don't have a place I can go back to right now. Can you leave me in your room for a while? I'll do the housework, chores, or anything else you want.
Do anything? I couldn't help but have a bad feeling. But I couldn't just kick her out since she had nowhere else to go. I decided to let her stay at my place. Satomi and I started living together. Satomi, who was a clerk at a temporary staffing agency until 6 months ago, became a good advisor for me.
Don't force yourself to stay in a difficult environment. Why don't you at least sign up for a job searching site?
Whenever I had some work I had to take home, Satomi would help me willingly without a trace of complaint.
You need to turn in these documents by tomorrow? That's a lot of work. Ask me anything. I'll help you. Let me borrow this laptop.
As a programmer with a liberal arts background, I really appreciate her math skills and her ability to handle paperwork. She soon became indispensable to me. Plus, every time I came home, Satomi was there to welcome me with her home-cooked meals. My cold apartment I was using just to sleep in became a warm and comfortable place to stay. Thanks to Satomi's support, my shabby life as a corporate slave became enriched. Satomi was also a ridiculously good cook. Delicious! You could serve this at a restaurant. I've never had anything this good before.
You're exaggerating, but thanks. My cooking is from my grandmother's tradition. I'm proud of it.
Satomi's parents died in a car accident when she was in 6th grade, and she has lived with her maternal grandparents ever since. One day, a large package arrived at my apartment. It was directly shipped from Ibaraki.
I asked a friend who's a farmer to send it specially for me. Let's open it.
Inside were many vegetables such as tomatoes and eggplants. Satomi made a number of delicious meals with them.
I think it's good to eat something from your birthplace every once in a while, to heal your body and soul.
Satomi's dish made with tomatoes from Ibaraki Prefecture were really delicious. It almost made me tear up.
What's wrong? Was the seasoning too harsh?
My parents are tomato farmers, but I didn't want to take over, so I lied to my parents. After all this time, it made me want to apologize to my parents for lying and running away. Satomi suggested that I do so.
Why don't you call them? Let them know you're doing well. I'm sure they'll be happy to hear from you.
I genuinely believed I should. Let them know what's been going on, and about Satomi as well. I thought I spent my life being used as an engineering slave. But with you, Satomi, I think I could change.
What? What happened all of a sudden?
Because of the hardships as a corporate slave, I even contemplated death at one point. But Satomi gently healed my battered heart. I couldn't help but feel myself becoming more and more attracted to Satomi. Such happiness came to an end all too abruptly. It was when I came home from work. I ran to Satomi, who was neatly dressed with her arms full of luggage right in front of my apartment. Satomi? What's going on? Are you going somewhere this late? Holding all that luggage.
That's right. I'm leaving. I'm free to go wherever I want, aren't I? It's none of your business.
What? Satomi?
I didn't tell you, but I'm in love with someone. He's a nice guy with money to spare and a bright future.
You're kidding me.
We're going to start a relationship with marriage in mind, so don't look for me, okay?
Hey, Satomi, wait a second. What are you talking about?
Well then, good luck on your own. Goodbye, engineering slave.
With that, Satomi left in a flash. No way. I stood there for a while in shock. But when I thought about it, something was off. Satomi wasn't the kind of person who would say something like that. I couldn't help but think that there was something going on, and was curious. So I got myself together and began looking for her. But things didn't go so easily. I looked everywhere Satomi could have possibly gone to, but I couldn't find her. I thought I knew her well, but it seems I don't know anything about her after all. One day, when I was about to lose hope. Why didn't I notice this? The tomatoes Satomi's friend sent me. On the package print, there was the farmer's contact information who was from Ibaraki, which was my hometown. That must be Satomi's friend. And that cardboard hadn't been taken out of the garbage yet. For once, I was saved by my own laziness. And I called him hoping for the best. And then, my guess was correct.
I was told not to talk about it, but Satomi was actually...
What? No way. No. And I finally found Satomi.
Yusuke, how did you find this place?
It doesn't matter. Satomi, are you alright? It was a hospital in Ibaraki. Satomi was terminally ill with cancer. Was it ever since that time you were following me?
Yeah. I was told I only had 6 months to live, and I wanted to see you before I die. I'm sorry. I lied to you, that I had no place to go.
I couldn't bear to think that she had been enduring the pain in her body for so long while she was with me. I'm sorry, Satomi. I was only talking about myself. I couldn't notice what you were going through.
Yusuke, you didn't do anything wrong. It was all my decision.
Satomi smiled softly as she said that made me feel so much love for her. I wrapped Satomi's hand in mine and held it. I love you, Satomi. I want to be by your side forever. Satomi nodded gently. Then I took the plunge and quit my job and switched to one where I could work from home, by Satomi's request. I lived in her parents' house and took care of her full time. Satomi was told she only had 6 months to live, but she spent 1.5 years with me, and one morning, she took her last breath next to me. Satomi, thank you. Satomi, who saved me from the suffering of a life as a corporate slave. I wonder if I was able to do enough for her. I made up my mind to live my life without regret for Satomi, and made the decision to return to my parents' house. My parents were surprised by my sudden announcement that I would take over the family business. I know it's hard to learn everything from scratch, but I wasn't going to back down. I'll grow the local vegetables Satomi liked. Watch over me. As I said this at the grave, I heard a bird sing. I believed it was Satomi's reply.
My name is Masaya Saito. My father passed away when I was in middle school. My mother raised me alone. and I'm thankful for all she's done for me.
Ever since Dad passed away, you've had to deal with so much. The least I can do is help you achieve the dream you've had since you were little.
I knew my mom worked hard to keep the apartment we live in and to get food on the table, but she even saved money to send me to nursing school. This spring, I finally graduated from nursing school. It's been a month since I started working at a hospital nearby. I finally received my first month's pay, and I already know what I'm going to do with it. Mom, do you have any days off next week?
Yep.
I got paid for the first time in my life. Let's go grab some dinner together. I know you like sushi.
That's so sweet of you. But you should use that money for something you want.
Using it to celebrate with you is what I want to do. Can't you let me do that for myself?
Oh, you always know the right thing to say. Okay. I'd be happy to join you for dinner.
Thanks, Mom. I was looking forward to dinner with my mom. It had always been my dream ever since I started going to nursing school. However, I never knew that this dinner would turn out to be such a disaster. It became one of the worst moments of my life. That day, I took my mother to an expensive sushi restaurant. It was the most famous one in the area.
Honey? This is such an expensive place. Why don't we go to one that's not so pricey?
That totally defeats the point, Mom. It's fine. I've always planned on taking you here, and that's what I'm going to do. I escorted my reluctant mother inside. Hey, welcome! The sushi chef's voice faded away as he saw us walking through the door. I started to feel uneasy about the guy. We have a reservation under Saito. He stared at us with a grim face and pointed to some chairs lined up near the entrance. I guess he wanted to tell us to sit down and wait, but the place was pretty big, and there were plenty of empty seats.
Hey, you know, this place is too nice for us, don't you think? I don't care where we go. I'm just happy to be with you.
Oh, come on, I have the money. Let's just sit here and wait for a bit. I think we were both a little nervous. We had never been to a nice sushi place, so we didn't know any of the rules. Are all expensive sushi places like this? Maybe he's trying to create a unique atmosphere I don't understand. I convinced myself everything was okay and sat on the chairs waiting with my somewhat uncomfortable looking mother. However, I soon found out that I was wrong. After a while, I heard the sushi chef talking to one of his regulars. Hey, the place is looking nice! Did you redecorate? Yes, we've been doing pretty well thanks to all the customers. To tell you the truth, I borrowed a bunch of money and used it to make this place better. Sounds like business is booming. Well, they say money only comes to people who deserve it. I caught the sushi chef smirking at us when he said that. Well, that was pretty condescending. I gave him a skeptical look, and he scoffed at me. I wouldn't be so doubtful if they didn't look so poor, but there's no way they have the money. Just look at them. It was obvious he was talking about us. I can't believe he would say that. The sushi chef kept showing customers that came after us to their seats, while we were left by the door waiting. I was trying to hold my anger in since my mother was sitting right next to me. However, I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up and called out to the sushi chef. Excuse me! Why do you keep looking at us like that? If there's something you'd like to say to us, why don't you just say it? What? I haven't done anything wrong. You shouldn't accuse people like that. It's rude. Well, I'm sorry for raising my voice at you, but we made a reservation and we've been waiting a long time in these chairs. Why won't you show us our seats? Huh? I'm not aware of any reservations tonight. You won't be getting a table. Seriously. Do you think you can afford to eat at a place like this? We wouldn't be here if we couldn't. Wow. So you think I didn't notice that woman in her shabby-looking clothes and filthy shoes? You reek of poverty. What? That's none of your business.
Honey, let's just go.
No, we can't. I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I only serve customers worthy of our service. Hey, take it easy. The regular he was talking to tried to come in between us to calm us down. The sushi chef shooed us away while the regular looked away, turned to the customer in front of him, and gave him a friendly smile. I told him I would never come back, and we left the sushi restaurant.
That was a unique experience.
I'm so sorry, Mom. I should have done some more research on the place. My mother tried to make me feel better by laughing it off, but I felt so bad. All I wanted to do was treat my mother to some quality sushi. We didn't deserve to be treated like that. I didn't care about what he said to me, but I couldn't forgive him for talking about my mother like that. He doesn't know what she's been through to raise me. I'm sorry. I feel horrible.
It's not your fault. He was just a jerk. That's all.
I felt a rush of frustration and fury, and all I could do was stare at the ground. Hey, is that you, Masaya? A familiar voice called my name from behind. I turned around to see one of my old friends. Kaito? Kaito was my classmate all through middle and high school. After we graduated from high school, Kaito started attending medical school. I hadn't seen him for a while, but that wasn't why I was surprised. What surprised me was that Kaito was the one to talk to me. It's not that Kaito's unfriendly, but he's a little difficult to approach. Plus, he's never the type to go up to people to start a conversation. He turned to my mother and greeted her, and then... What are you doing? Oh, we were just at a sushi place with the worst sushi chef ever. The worst? He didn't ask me about it, but he seemed curious. It wasn't anything I wanted to hide, so I started telling him about our earlier experience. He listened to my story intently until I finished, and then he smirked for some reason. One of my relatives was planning to go eat at that sushi restaurant. Hey, why don't you join him? You can take your mother with you if you want. No way! I'm not going back! I don't ever want to pass by it ever again! I'm not telling you to do this without reason. Kaito laughed a little and turned to my mother with a gentle smile. I know you're tired from what happened, but can I have just a few more minutes of your time?
Huh? Sure. That's fine with me.
My mother didn't seem to have a problem with it. Kaito started telling us an interesting story. I was all ears. A few days later, I was in front of the sushi restaurant with my mother, Kaito, and a man called Mr. Natori. He was the relative Kaito was talking about. Let's go over the plan again. We have to pretend we don't know each other while we're in there. Okay? Sure! Let's do this! And so, my mother and I entered the restaurant a few minutes after Kaito and Mr. Natori went in. There were no other customers, and they were sitting at the counter talking with the sushi chef. However, once he saw us, "You're here again? You should know you're not welcome here!" Well, we thought we would try again. Fine, you can stay there until these customers are finished eating. He nudged his chin towards the chairs by the entrance. I was boiling with anger inside, but I held it in and sat down just like he gestured me to do so. Excuse me, who are they? They're nobodies. I don't know what their problem is. They stormed out the other day after telling me they would never come back here again. Yet here they are again. That's my line. What the heck is his problem? I wanted to stand up and yell at him, but I kept my mouth shut. Are there any specials? We'll start with that. Great! The sushi chef replied excitedly and started making the sushi that Mr. Natori ordered. However, that wasn't all he started doing. He would glance over towards us from time to time. Did you know moths are attracted to light? Unfortunately, it seems my sushi restaurant attracts moths too. It bothers me how they keep coming back even when they know they are unwanted. I'm sorry if they're making you feel uncomfortable. I heard that if you wear nice shoes, they will take you into a brighter future. I agree with that saying 100%. If you keep wearing filthy shoes, well, there's an example of where they will lead you. He made horrible comments and made sure we all know who he was talking about. I wasn't angry anymore. I was amazed at how much of a jerk he could be. And finally, Kaito and Mr. Natori stood up. Hey, thanks for the great meal. I hope to see you again, sir. Nah, I won't be coming back here ever again. What? The sushi chef seemed stunned at Mr. Natori's unexpected reply. Mr. Natori took out his business card. I guess I should tell you that I'm a food critic. My name is Natori. Let me update you with some information. Mr. Natori is a well-known food critic. His articles are in big magazines and are popular among housewives. He's famous for his extremely harsh yet accurate comments. After Kaito heard about what happened to my mother and me the other day, he suggested we get Mr. Natori to check out the place to write an article about it. The sushi was great, but your attitude is just unacceptable. You have the right to protect your business, but that doesn't give you the right to treat customers like that. They went out of their way and picked your restaurant out of all the others. You should work on fixing your character instead of making sushi. Please! This isn't what you think it is! Hey, it's too late. There's nothing you can say to prevent me from writing what I want in my article. Too bad for you. If you had gotten on my uncle's good side, there would have been a long line of customers waiting to eat your sushi. No! Please don't leave! It was great seeing the sushi chef desperately beg Mr. Natori to change his mind. We left him sputtering apologies and left the place. Okay, you guys, how about we go to my favorite sushi restaurant together? It's just a few minutes away. So how is it?
It's perfect. Thank you so much for bringing me here. You're the best.
I was finally able to treat my mother to some good sushi at the restaurant Mr. Natori introduced us to. Just a side story, Mr. Natori wrote a horrible review, and there were also negative comments online about how the chef treated customers. Business for the sushi chef went downhill from there. One day, I was at work like any other day when I noticed a man walking into the examination room. He looked gaunt and his finger was hurt. I fell down the stairs a few days ago. I tried to protect myself and it seems like I hurt my finger then. It's been throbbing ever since. I couldn't believe my eyes. The man turned out to be that evil sushi chef. Ooh, this is a compound fracture. You won't be using your finger for a while. What? No, I owe a lot of money for redecorating my restaurant. I need to be able to work to pay back the money or I'm in big trouble. The sushi chef was grabbing onto the doctor, so I gently peeled him off with a smile. I pointed towards the door and said, I'm glad to see karma does exist. I hope you have a good life. He was so shocked by the doctor's words, he didn't even realize who I was. It doesn't matter how successful you are. What's important is how you treat others. Your life changes depending on how you go about it. It was a valuable lesson for me.
I'm Takashi Amakawa. I'm just an average guy. Of the type you'd find anywhere. My hobby is drawing pictures. Ever since I was young, as long as I had some paper and a pencil, I could draw for hours on end. Thanks to that, I was good at drawing, but I sucked at sports and my grades were average. I'm not that good looking either. Even now, I think it was a miracle I was able to get married in spite of that. What's more, Karen, my wife, is absolutely beautiful. How was I able to marry such a beautiful woman, you ask? Because we were childhood friends. My family moved away eventually, so our family homes are far apart now. But back then, I went over to my neighbor Corinne's house almost every day to play. Our moms.
If Takahashi and Karin get married one day, we'll be relatives.
Would often say stuff like that. To be honest, I was completely in love with Corinne. But I knew that I was plain and boring. I thought as a child I'd never be able to marry a beautiful girl like her. But when we were in high school, her dad.
I'll only have my girl marry someone honest. I think Takashi's perfect.
Started saying things like that. And the prospect of marrying her began to seem a little more real. Then Corinne too.
Well, if my papa says so.
Started showing an interest. So taking her at her word, I decided it was time. It's make or break. And with that, I confessed my feelings to her. Unbelievably, she said yes. I thought, this must be what it feels like to be in heaven. After that, we continued dating, and we really didn't have any problems. There was just one time we had something resembling a fight. There I was drawing pictures, my longtime hobby from back when I was a kid, when she casually said,
Huh? Isn't drawing pictures for kids? A high schooler shouldn't be drawing pictures. It's so nerdy.
Ever since then, I decided not to mention my drawing in front of Corinne. A few years later, I got my first job and popped the question.
I know you only got eyes for me, so okay.
And that's how we got married. Our married life was so happy. Corinne became a housewife. And not only would she lavish me with home-cooked meals every day, but she did all the housework and ironed my clothes perfectly. On days off, I'd help out with the housework or take her on vacation. And I always did my best to let her know I loved her. But our happiness only lasted a year.
My period came again.
I see.
Life without kids is kind of boring. I'm so tired of this.
After Corinne said that, she gradually started staying with her family more and more. At the worst times, she'd be there for days on end without returning. Corinne, will you please come back home soon? I'm lonely on my own.
Oh, please give it a rest. I'm doing my thing, and you should do yours, Takashi.
I went to her parents' house countless times, but every time my father-in-law... No man who upsets my daughter is welcome here! Go home! Would say something like that and turn me away. In the few occasions she did come back, I'd give her massages or cook her meals, seeing to her needs in whatever way I could, in the hope that she wouldn't leave again. I just wanted to see that cute smile of hers at home like before. But...
You're so mediocre, Takashi. I'm bored whenever we're together. If I knew it turned out like this, I would have fooled around with way more guys before getting married.
With that, she went back to her parents' house. Even after that, the days and months went by with the void being unfulfilled. Would she really have been satisfied if we had kids? Corinne continued to come and go between ours and her parents' house. I went there over and over again to try and win her back, but was turned away at the door without fail. Having nothing to do at home, I started up my old hobby again, drawing. I refrained from doing it ever since Corinne said she didn't like it because it was nerdy. But things are so convenient these days, you can draw pictures with nothing but a computer. While Corinne was away, I turned in my computer and used my pen to distract myself from the loneliness. I was drawing pictures on that day too, but...
What are you doing?
Huh? Oh, Corinne! Welcome home! Sorry, I was so focused, I didn't notice you. I made social media accounts to publicize my pictures. And I'd been working super hard to upload new work since my follower count had increased. Oh, I'm just drawing pictures.
I thought you were looking at dirty websites.
I don't do that sort of thing. Anyway, you must be hungry, right? I'm about to rustle up some dinner.
Hey, didn't I tell you before not to do nerdy things? To think you've been doing it in secret behind my back. Disgusting.
Sorry.
What the heck is this, a toy?
It's a doll I bought to use for reference when drawing poses.
Well, whatever. Hurry up and make my dinner.
That was the end of it, and I was relieved. For a little while. But that night, when I went back to my room... No way! My pose mannequin and a collection of pictures from my computer had been thrown in the trash! Why would she do something so horrible? I froze on the spot, so utterly dumbfounded by how awfully she was treating me. I don't want to live with a nerd, she said, as she started staying for longer periods at her parents' house. Being away for several weeks at a time became a regular occurrence. It was just as I was thinking, I'm not letting you get away with it anymore. I'm not your slave. They do say life is a series of ups and downs. Something positive that alleviated my feelings of depression.
Long time no see. It's me, Yuta. I saw your pictures. You've gotten a lot better than you were in school.
When I uploaded one of my pictures I'd drawn for social media, I got a DM from Yuta, one of my old classmates. I suspect he sent the message after figuring out it was me, because my art style was the same back then, and my surname was the name of my page. To me, now worlds apart from Corinne, being reunited with an old friend like this made me so happy. It was like I'd found an oasis in the middle of a desert. Then, after exchanging some messages with Yuta, he made a request. He wanted some art to be used in a video. Apparently, Yuta was now a music streamer, and he wanted me to come up with some illustrations to use in his new music video. Are you sure I'm good enough? I'm just some nameless artist.
What are you talking about? Do you have any idea how many thousands of followers you have? You're not as nameless as you think.
Really? I'm so happy to hear that. I accepted the request for the illustrations. By then, Corinne was hardly visiting the house at all anymore, and I was able to draw with a complete peace of mind, without worrying if she might see me. A few weeks later, I submitted the illustrations without issue. I started receiving thanks from people who watched the video. Yuda's friends.
I want you to draw for me too.
Won't you come up with some art for my lyrics? They started approaching me with messages like this, and I felt as though I was on the verge of breaking free from my melancholy-filled days. Then, one day, after suddenly turning up at the house, Corinne said, "Come in here for a minute," beckoning me over to the living room with a stern expression.
I want to speak to you.
What?
I want a divorce.
Huh? Corinne continued arrogantly with a frightening look on her face.
If you can't give me children, I'm done.
But, how can I when you're almost never home?
I went to see a gynecologist and there's nothing wrong with me. So it's your fault we can't have kids. I've decided to marry a young businessman Papa found for me. So we're getting a divorce. Don't you dare say no.
I was lost for words. I broke out in a cold sweat and my body began to tremble. I had no idea she'd ask for a divorce. But after thinking for a moment, once my mind had calmed down, I said, "I see. Okay. I guess it can't be helped," in an absent-minded tone, and left the living room. Why, you ask? Well, thinking about it with a cool head, this situation could only be good for me. I went back to my room and grinned to myself in silence. I'm free! I no longer had to draw my pictures while worrying about whether Corinne might see me. I could devote myself to drawing to my heart's content. After that, me and Corinne got a divorce. Since it was what we both wanted, the procedures went smoothly from the get-go. And we got it over with without any real problems at all. It was a mistake to have my daughter marry a spermless good-for-nothing like you. Her dad got one last spiteful comment in, though. That was fine, though. I didn't care anymore. Because I broke off all contact with her. After the divorce was finalized, I sold the house me and Corinne had been living in together and moved to a certain somewhere else. A beautiful detached house by the sea. When I told my parents about the reason for the divorce and my aspirations for the future, they decided to give me their holiday time. Kind of like getting part of my inheritance while they were still around. With that, I put some things I'd been planning on for a long time into action. About a year later, one day, I got a frantic call from Corinne.
I'm so sorry. I want to apologize for everything I've done. Can we get married again?
Where did this come from all of a sudden? Weren't you getting married to that businessman your dad found?
He was a con artist. He wasn't a businessman after all. He took my money and I'm really struggling now.
Really? Damn, sucks to be you, huh? Anyways, I'm really enjoying my carefree bachelor lifestyle, so would you mind not calling me again?
Wait, don't hang up. I'm so sorry. You're rich now, right? Please, can I have just a little...
The answer is no. Bye. After that, I quit the company and went independent as an illustrator. Thanks to Yuda's video, my pictures received a lot of attention, and the work just kept coming in. When I was requested by a small company to design a character for a mobile game, playthroughs of the game came to be regularly uploaded to streaming sites. And thanks to that, I became well known as a character designer, and started earning enough money to be able to cover all my living costs. It just so happens, I was already receiving offers from companies before Corinne broke up with me. And I was lost for ideas as to how to raise the issue of quitting my job and earning a living through my art alone. With Corinne having the personality she did, and my father-in-law being how he was, I was certain they'd be against it. Her asking for a divorce out of the blue like that saved me a lot of trouble. Later on, Corinne found out I inherited my parents' property, the holiday time, and believe it or not, tracked me down there and launched a surprise attack.
Please, can we start over? I want to live in this amazing house.
You're a stranger to me now. Stop following me.
Don't say that. I know what my dad did was horrible, and I feel awful about it.
You're annoying. I just made a call to the security company, so if you're not careful, you'll end up being reported to the police and arrested.
Ah, you're horrible.
As expected, Corinne thought twice when I mentioned getting the police involved. The surprise attack stopped after that. I heard that after she realized me and her were never going to get back together, she attended several interviews to discuss the prospect of getting married to a number of young, rich men. The men she got tangled up with turned out to be suspicious every time, and she kept getting her money stolen. She eventually sold her house and disappeared somewhere. If she hadn't told me she was bored and belittled me, who knows, maybe we'd still be enjoying a modest, ordinary lifestyle together. It's entirely her own fault, though. I'm relaxing in this house by the sea, dedicating myself to my work as a creator. I've got a good feeling about things with this girl from the game company who comes over for work meetings sometimes. But I'd hate it if things ended up like they did with Corinne again, so I'm treading carefully when it comes to romance. There was a time when I even thought my life might be over, but I truly believe now that it's important that you follow your passions with your head held high.
My name's Masaki. I lost my dad when I was in junior high, and my mom, a nurse, raised me alone as a single mother. Thanks to her, I made it into adulthood, and this year, I started work as a salesman at a small trading company. And so, with my first bonus, I went on vacation with my mom for 3 days and 2 nights. Today's the 3rd day. We've done our fair share of the sightseeing we came to do, and now we're on the train home.
That was so much fun.
When I saw my mom smile, I knew I had done the right thing to bring her along. As I gazed vacantly out the train window, she said, "By the way," and began to speak.
It wasn't far from here that me and you went on our honeymoon. You know too well it can be quite the scatterbrain, don't you, Masaki?
Yeah, Dad could be a bit of an airhead. One time we had to hold a family meeting because he tried to order 10 boxes of candy from a well-known store, but accidentally added an extra 0. So 100 were delivered is something we can laugh about now. Our friends and neighbors were eating candy for weeks.
He had an airhead episode on our honeymoon, too. He made the reservation at the inn for us, but he got the date wrong. We wanted to stay on February 4th, but...
Let me guess. He booked March 4th instead.
Wow, good guess.
Well, I have had to put up with Dad's scatterbrain antics since I was a little kid.
We were in quite the panic when we arrived to check-in, but the innkeeper was so nice about it all. She said, if you give us some time, we'll have a room ready for you in an hour. You went to the trouble of coming here, so I want you to enjoy yourselves here at our inn.
I wonder how that landlady's doing nowadays, pondered my mom. That's when it happened. The carriages shook from left to right as the train was hit by a shock, as if it was being pushed up from below. We slowed down and ground to a halt.
Attention all passengers. An earthquake just occurred while the train was in motion. To ensure your safety, operation will be suspended until inspections have been carried out.
At the same time, I received an earthquake alert on my phone that said it was a magnitude 5. Mom, are you okay?
Wow, that was scary.
After that, we waited inside the train in the hopes that they'd resume operations. But the end was nowhere in sight. And after a little while, the train pulled into the nearest station at low speed. We somehow managed to ask one of the staff at the station, and apparently because the earthquake was a magnitude 5, there was absolutely no hope of the service restarting soon. The sky was cloudy. It was night, so of course our surroundings were dark. This is bad.
If we get a different train home, I'm scared that another earthquake might hit. Let's wait a day and see what happens.
Seems like that's our only option.
The inn I mentioned just now is close to the station. So if we go and the innkeeper's still there, maybe we'll be able to stay the night.
Really? Every cloud has its silver lining, huh? As we exited the station ticket gate, ready to make our way to the inn, my mom turned for a moment to use a vending machine. I couldn't help but notice an old man sat with his head drooped, stroking his leg. "What should I do?" he said.
What's up?
"Look, when times are tough, we should look out for each other." We decided to ask the old man what was wrong. When we did, he told us that he twisted his ankle in the earthquake just now.
It does look a little twisted, but I don't think it's broken. You should go to the hospital to be on the safe side, though.
Shall I call an ambulance? No, I don't think it's bad enough to go kicking up a bus over. The pain's mostly subsided now. My nephew works at an inn not too far from here. I'm going to go there.
Oh, I see. That's a coincidence. Which inn is it?
The old man told us he was going to the same inn we were. Since the trains had stopped, our hopes of getting a taxi were slim. So we decided to head to the inn together. I hoisted him onto my back and off we went. Luckily, it was only a 15-minute walk to the inn. The old man was thin and didn't weigh much, so it wasn't that difficult. That said, we were a little exasperated by the rain that started while we were on our way.
Welcome.
It was past 10 at night. Somewhat anxious about whether we would be able to stay or not, I put the old man down by the entrance. Excuse me, is the landlady here?
It's the innkeeper's day off today. I'm the assistant innkeeper. How can I help you?
Well, you see, we can't make it home because the train stopped running due to the earthquake. We're looking for a place to stay tonight. Do you have any rooms available?
Well, we do.
The young innkeeper stared intensely as to size us up. I had a bad feeling about this.
It's a little expensive, you know.
How expensive?
$750 per room.
The price left me in astonishment. My mom tensed up. Don't you have a cheaper room available? We don't even mind if it hasn't been cleaned.
We don't, and I'm terribly sorry. But this is a luxury inn. It's not the kind of inn that people without money get to stay at.
Huh?
You're soaking wet, but I don't see an umbrella. Couldn't you afford one?
It's not that. It just started raining all of a sudden while we were on our way here. There was nowhere to buy one.
I see you don't have a folding umbrella either. How sad.
Is this the level of customer service that my mom's cherished inn? I was just about to say something in my rage at the innkeeper before my mom prevented me.
We'll be fine. Will you at least let this old man rest in one of your rooms? His foot is injured. He says he knows someone here, so won't you please make an exception for him somehow?
When my mom asked the old man what his nephew's name was, he shook his head and said, I don't want to say.
It's not that he doesn't want to say. All this stuff about him knowing someone here and his foot being injured, it's all lies, isn't it?
What the hell is wrong with you? I couldn't help but raise my voice at the innkeeper's unpleasant remarks.
No, what on earth is going on here?
From the back of the inn appeared a lady with a man in his chef's uniform.
Mrs. Innkeeper, I thought it was your day off. I was concerned about the inn after the earthquake, so I came back. As soon as I got here, I could hear a customer raising their voice. It's fine. You don't need to trouble yourself with this. Shinsuke's on shift now, so we'll be okay if you go home.
I mean, she was gonna go, but wait, is that Uncle Joe? It's my Uncle Joe! What are you doing here? What happened? Oh, I just twisted my ankle a little. These two were kind enough to bring me here. Your young innkeeper here, on the other hand. What do you mean? First, she claimed I was lying about my injury. And then she started calling us poor. She said it to my new friends as well. What? You serious?
No, you've got this all wrong.
You call other people liars while spewing lies yourself. By the way, Shinsuke, I heard from your dad that you were dating some young assistant innkeeper. Oh, good grief. It's not this innkeeper, is it? Yeah, it is. Was. But that ends today.
No, Shinsuke, it's not true. All I did was decline them because there are no rooms left. But there is a room available, isn't there?
The young woman's face turned pale at the grave tone of the innkeeper's voice.
Are you telling me you failed to conduct an empty room check? Of course I checked. In that case, would you mind explaining why you declined these customers? I was careless. I'll prepare the room at once. Don't bother. We provide only the finest hospitality for our customers, who so kindly choose to spend their time here. That's our motto at this inn. We have no need for anyone who can't honor that. You're fired. No, please, reconsider!
The chef lifted the old man onto his back, and as he sat beside the young woman clinging to the landlady, without even making eye contact, he said, I've had a few suspicions about your true colors lately, but I had no idea you were this two-faced.
Shinsuke!
Since a few minutes ago, we've been nothing but work acquaintances. What did you expect? Looking at the young innkeeper with contempt as she broke down in tears, the man known as Shinsuke disappeared into the back of the inn, and the innkeeper escorted us to our room.
I can't apologize enough for what happened. If there's any way I can make this up to you.
That's okay. I'm just pleased to see you're still so straight-talking and in good health.
My mother explained to the innkeeper that she came here once when she was younger and received her assistance in the past.
I'm so happy you remembered us, but only for this to happen.
It's totally okay.
To tell you the truth, I had heard 1 or 2 rumors about my assistant innkeeper being rude to customers, but she always seemed so hardworking and good at her job when I was watching. I wanted to believe that's what she was like, and I think I might have gone too easy on her.
The innkeeper was remorseful throughout. After showing us to our room, she appeared again with the chef and bowed deeply, asking that we forgive her. And on top of that, despite it being late at night, we were treated to a sumptuous feast.
We want you to stay tonight free of charge, so please enjoy your stay.
You don't have to do that.
You've been through a shock with the earthquake and all. We have to look out for each other in times like this.
And so, taking the innkeeper up on our offer, we enjoyed the delicious food, the beautiful room, and the fully equipped open-air bath to the fullest. I'm glad we came here after all!
Me too.
The next day, after giving our thanks to the innkeeper who saw us off with a deep bow and leaving the inn, we caught sight of the young innkeeper dragging a rattling suitcase along to the station. When she saw us, she ran away, as if to escape. She had most likely been kicked out of the inn. Sometime afterwards, we're back!
Good to see you again.
Welcome back. I've been waiting for you.
Approximately a year later, we went to stay at the inn again. Of course, the innkeeper remembered us, then after apologizing once again, explained what happened to her assistant after she left. Just as we thought, she got kicked out of the inn. And just as he announced, her boyfriend Shinsuke broke up with her. And apparently, believe it or not, she took out a loan and bought a sports car because of the pay raise that came with her promotion to assistant innkeeper. She's now working part-time during the day and in bars and clubs after the night to pay off that loan, barely getting a moment to rest. People who make fun of and look down their noses at others will always be abandoned by those around them eventually. I'm gonna make sure I never end up like that.
My name is Tomoya Murayama. I'm 35. I work as a sous chef at a hotel restaurant. If I see anyone cooking slow, I help out, and I run the flow of the kitchen. Mr. Murayama, can you check my sauce? Sure. Yeah, let's add just a tad more salt, and it should be good. This hotel has a history, but it's not very popular. People showed up just to eat lunch, but that also stopped recently. Compared to other restaurants or hotels, we probably have less equipment. You pretty much wouldn't work here unless you had a love for this hotel and restaurant. But my days were fulfilling. It's a little cliche, but it was thanks to my family. I'm home.
Welcome home! Welcome home, honey.
My wife, Yuko, and son, Kenta, both welcomed me home with smiles. Yuko works at a supermarket as a part-time worker and takes care of the house. Kenta's in 6th grade, and he's not interested in cooking at all. He prefers eating, but he's honest and bright. Then one day, while we were spending our days peacefully...
Tomoya, I need to ask you for some help. Asuka wants us to take care of Leo.
Leo? That Leo? Damn. Yuko's sister, Akiko's husband, runs a construction company. Leo is the second child in their family. Maybe it's his environment. He's always rowdy, and all the relatives know that he can't be controlled.
She's going with Taiga to study abroad, so...
Oh, the music school thing. I remember Taiga playing for us as a kid. He's got talent. But what about the dad? He's around, right?
Yeah, but...
According to Yuko, he only cares about his eldest son, Taiga, and ignores Leo. I mean, I can't turn that down. We decided to take on Leo for a month. Leo showed up with a massive suitcase like he was going to go abroad. The first thing he said when he showed up was, "Wow, your house is tiny! I thought it was a doghouse!" I knew it. I figured he would be this way, but Leo has a mouth on him. He just keeps saying whatever he wants. It makes sense because he's in high school, but both Yuko and I knew it was coming, so we just ignored it.
Welcome, Leo. Let's get along for the next month.
Yeah! I heard your cooking was delicious, so I'm excited for that. Only that, though.
Sis!
Come on. Let's carry your luggage. Your room is upstairs. Leo was obviously disappointed with his room. It was because he had a room with Kenta. I didn't hear about having to live with a kid.
What? You're just a kid too.
Hey, you call me Mr. Leo. I'm your elder. The attitude. Leo just kept spewing poison. When he saw the small yard from the living room. This is a yard? Shouldn't yards be bigger with, like, gazebos or something? When he took a bath. This bath is tiny. I can't even stretch out my legs. How do I swim? Swim? It's a bathtub. Leo just laughed and scoffed at our peasantry at every chance he could. Don't say too much, Leo. You're gonna make me sad. This is how regular people get by. I'm so glad we're rich. Being poor sucks. Oh well, I'll deal with it. Yeah, what a brat. However, on the night of the first dinner, he acted a little unexpectedly. Alright, come on. I cooked all this. I hope it fits your taste. At first, this is such a poor dinner. But he started changing a little after he started eating. The fried chicken, the kimpira, eggs, miso soup. It wasn't like hotel food, but I definitely put my effort into making it good. It's delicious! It's all so delicious! The miso soup is so good! The scent! Is this freshly cooked seasoning? Huh? You noticed? I didn't think anyone would know. I had just created the seasoning with my new seasoning box. He apparently had a very good palate. I'm never able to talk about cooking at my house. So, according to him, his father was always busy and never listened. His mother was always taking care of the oldest son. No one really cared about cooking, and they ate frozen foods and prepared meals from shops. Leo ate alone regularly. I didn't know that. I figured you guys would be eating fancy food every day. Yeah, sometimes I cook for myself. I want to be a French food chef one day. French? Why? We went to a French restaurant with all four of us once, and the French food was amazing and everyone was smiling for the first time in a while, he said. He couldn't forget the experience. I felt like that meal brought everyone together, and I started having an interest in cooking. Okay, then do you want me to teach you how to cook like a professional? Really? Yeah. Seriously? Yay! Haha, I guess he is just a kid. The next day, I found time to start teaching Leo the basics of cooking. Exactly! You're pretty good with a knife. Yeah, I was practicing at home too! He must have been all alone working in his kitchen at home. I felt a little bad for him. You give your food to your family? Once. To my father. He didn't say anything. Probably because I gave it to him with all the other stuff from the store. If Kenta had cooked me a meal, I think I would be jumping out of my seat from excitement. Then put on the ketchup and there you go. There's your omurice. We all said our thanks and started eating his omurice. This is delicious! You can sell this at a restaurant! Yuto and Kenta were both enjoying the omurice. Leo was slightly tearing up after hearing everyone enjoy his meal. Thank you. I'm so happy. It's so nice eating with everyone. I couldn't stand it after seeing Leo crying. I headed to a certain place. I made an appointment with the father and went directly to his house. He didn't say a single thing after the promised month had passed. Sorry, I'm glad you took on our bad son. Bad son? I was not expecting him to say that. I was shocked. Leo is a great kid. I have something I want to talk about actually. It's about him. I asked him straightforward if he treated his son with love and care. Love, huh? I treat him as if Taiga is my only son. What? What do you mean? I mean exactly what I said. Taiga is smart. He's elite. He's a genius at music. I only need Taiga. I don't need the second loser. I knew that he had liked the eldest son more, but I didn't know it was this bad. If you want him, you can just take him. I'll pay for his expenses. You shouldn't joke about those kinds of things. I'm not joking at all. I'm going to go home now. Sorry for taking your time. I stood up and left. Of course, we didn't even talk about when Leo would be going home. I went back to my family and had to explain what had just happened between Leo's father and me.
I see. I feel so bad for him.
I had suggested that we keep Leo for a little while longer to the two. The next day, I talked to Leo about the suggestion. He looked a little puzzled. Then he said, "Thank you. I didn't want to be in that house anyway. I just keep getting sour, so I spew poison and if you two don't mind, can I please stay at your house?"
Of course.
You can consider this your home from now on.
I'll call you brother then.
Hell yeah, Kenta! I talked to Akiko, who was overseas, about Leo too. It made sense why they were married. They sounded the same.
You're taking Leo? Wow, you really like weird things. Trying to raise that monster.
I was disgusted. I held back the rage boiling inside of me. Anyway, we had formally accepted Leo into our household, and I started teaching him how to cook again. Great job, Leo. Keep it up. If you cook the vegetables with butter, you can really condense that flavor. You can add some more butter after there are fewer bubbles, right? I was impressed by how much he had improved. I could tell he loved cooking. He could be working in my restaurant for all I knew. He was always happy to be cooking without a worry in the world. That was Leo.
This is a little too salty. Water!
I didn't cook this for kids. Here, drink this. Kenta and Leo always bickered with each other, but it wasn't like before. When Leo decided he wanted to go to cooking school, I went with him to ask for his parents' permission. Please, I want to become a chef. I'm begging you. I'm also asking, I want him to chase his dreams. Do whatever you want. Taiga is doing good. That's all that matters. Maybe he wanted to show up his father, who had no hopes for him. He had joined cooking school and was improving drastically. He graduated top of the class. Afterwards, he entered into contests and kept winning. The industry had noticed his skill, and he was officially a professional chef. 8 years after he left Japan, he had gone to France and accepted a position taking over a 3-star Michelin restaurant. He occasionally writes about how he receives awards.
Leo is doing so great overseas. Who knew he could do that well? I want to eat his rice again.
Speak of the devil. A little while later, Leo called us. I see. You'll swing by then? He was going to come back to Japan for work.
Yeah, I gotta figure out what I want to have him cook for me. Oh, stop.
A few days later...
Welcome home, Leo.
Thank you. You look pretty good. Look at you, all grown up. Oh, come on! I've still got so much to do. I invited him to the living room and asked him about his life overseas. His lifestyle in France, the difference in food culture, how work was, and what he planned to do next. Just as the stories were really getting exciting, there he was on the intercom. I don't know how he figured it out, but Kosuke was there. Oh, you're home, Leo. You should say hello to your parents first, don't you think? I thought I was a failure. Oh, I was just teasing you. Come home, please. I'm begging you. Yeah, you just want me to work for you in place of my older brother, right? I heard what he did. Yeah, he had caused serious problems. Apparently, he hated his life overseas and came home after he got in a huge argument with his classmates and teachers in music school. Yeah, he's a failure. He hides in his room all day and doesn't listen. I see. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go back to your house. Come on! The company is in trouble too! I need your money as a chef! We're family! Come on! Who was the guy that said Taiga was his only son? I think I've heard enough. Get out! Now! Leo shoved him out of the door, and he walked away complaining under his breath. I'm sorry for showing such a shameful thing. It's alright, don't worry about it. Afterwards, we worked together in the kitchen. It had been so long. Leo was going to be going back tomorrow, but we're still keeping in touch with him. Come back whenever, okay? I told Leo right before he left. Oh, and Kosuke, who is now despised by both his sons, lived a pretty miserable life after that. He'd apparently started working with gangs, and he had to resign from his position as CEO. The company wanted to catch him, but he fled into the countryside. If only it had ended there. It was actually brought to light that he was embezzling company money, and he was arrested. The wife was also going through it as a result of her husband's actions. She's having to work day jobs to pay for her jobless son. She quit that, and she apparently started living the nightlife in her 40s. I feel bad for them, but it's their fault. They deserved it. I'm excited for my son, Kenta, and Leo's futures. I still work in the kitchen. I'm glad to say I'm busy every day. Working hard is the best thing.